welcome back. You know, I had to do these in two parts because I still got, a few things here to talk about, and I wanted to take my time because no one needs to be rushing through all this stuff. Okay, so what else did I fucking pick up? Well, I'm always on the lookout for old post-punk stuff that I've not heard because, I mean, there's new stuff that's really good, but sometimes the older stuff is even better, even just one record out of a band. So, and this was one that I had never listened to before. And it's a band, I'm sure some of you are familiar with it, but they're called Modern English. And this is like, they took a long hiatus, like 15 or 20 years or some shit like that. They had a long hiatus. And then they put this record out in, I don't know. They put it out at some point. I can't find the date on it. But it was within the last 4 or 5 years they put this out. And it is called Take Me to the Trees. And it's got that classic kind of 4AD records, kind of post-punk vibe going on. Maybe I like a combination of that and some, I don't know, Red Lorry, Yellow Lorry, or I don't know. It's British post-punk, and they're really, really good. And I was happy to. I mean, this one I like, and it's not even their old stuff. So I kind of want to get their old, at least one of their old records. But this is good. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. And speaking of post-punk and really death rock in general, I've been kind of delving in more to Christian Death's discography. I mean, Only Theater of Pain was the one record I had, and then I had a Death Wish 7-inch. No, or maybe it's Romeo's Distress. It's Romeo's Distress 7-inch. Like, it's just one that's like a live version on a 45. So I hadn't heard a lot. I mean, I know Valor has been doing Christian Death for like, he did it all through the late, he's still doing it to this day. But in the early 90s, Roz Williams tried to take back the Christian Death name. And he put out Christian Death featuring Roz Williams. I think he did 3 albums like that. And this is one of them called Path of Sorrow. And I've not given this a proper listen yet. I mean, from what I've heard, I mean, this stuff is good, but it's not Only Theater of Pain good. I mean, that record was out of the gate, bottled lightning, and everything else has just been kind of not bad. I mean, even the couple albums with Roz after the Only Theater of Pain, like Catastrophe Ballet and whatnot, they're good, but they're not near as good. But I'm digging this. I don't feel like I wasted my money getting this to listen to. So, Christian Death. Okay, so heading in that same dark realm, but completely fucking different soundscape. You know, Marcus from the Vladimirs, somewhere like 2008-ish, he put out a record for like a country goth kind of thing called Sono Morti, and he has this on his the Vladimirs Etsy page, and I remember seeing it for years, and it was $5. I figured may as well pick it up now, and before like it is impossible to find. And I like to support these guys, but I to be honest, I haven't listened to this yet. To listen to country of any kind, I have to be in a mood for it. And I haven't been in the mood for this yet. So I'll listen to this, and I'm glad I haven't. So I can't really comment on what it sounds like, but I'm looking forward to, when I get in the mood for some country, to listen to this. Then, Wolfman and the Brimstone Boys, Safe Space. So this was actually sent to me, which is pretty cool. I'm going to do a review on this. It's kind of lo-fi thrashy punk, and I guess they kind of got lumped into horror punk, or are getting lumped into horror punk, and for a fair good reason. I mean, some bands kind of buck the title, but this one's fairly fitting, but it's definitely in the vein of, like, it pushes crossover. I'll get into the review of this at a later time. It's pretty good, though. I'm enjoying it. So, glad to have that. Hey, I like hip-hop. Do you like hip-hop? Especially old hip-hop? If you want... Yeah, I know, this is switching gears quite a bit. Okay, we all know new hip-hop and new rap is horrible. I mean, these fucking guys that look like they fell into a fucking, like, schizophrenic tattoo artist parlor and the guy just went batshit on their heads. And for that matter, they can't fucking rap. Honestly, I could give two flying shits of what someone looks like as long as they have got fucking talent, and half the time these people do not have talent. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I just don't understand what the kids are into. I highly doubt that, because I like shit from, like, the last 70, 80, 90, 100, 200 years of fucking music. I like stuff across the spectrum. There's new stuff I do like, but modern rappers, I mean, unless it's the underground stuff that's not getting mainstream play, that just doesn't fit what the record labels are fucking pushing out. I don't know. All I gotta say is, if Snoop Dogg is making fun of these fucking guys, then it can't be that great. So I tend, in high school and in my 20s, I kind of, I was punk rock and industrial, and I put blinders on to 90s hip hop, and that was my downfall, because now I'm going back and discovering all this fucking hip hop that I really should have gotten back in the day. And this is one of those records where I knew the single, but man, I'm glad I picked the record up. And that is Diggable Planets, Reachin'. They put out, I think they either put out one, maybe two records. This one for sure, and I think maybe one other one. They were, they just went off and did other things. But holy fuck. This is like jazz-influenced hip-hop. And I apparently that's how I like my jazz, is in hip-hop. Because, like Del the Funky Homo Sapien and the Hieroglyphics crew, they do a lot of that weird jazz-influenced stuff. A Tribe Called Quest has a bunch of stuff like that. And, like, a lot of people know the fucking single off of this, Rebirth of Slick, Cool Like That. Really, really good. It's got a good beat to it. So, I was really happy to get this, to hear the rest of the record. Because I knew the single, but I didn't know the rest of the record. And so far, I'm fucking feeling it. It's really, really good. That is the only hip-hop that I have gotten recently. I don't get a lot in, but what I do is usually pretty quality, because I don't have like a lot of the classics out there. Let's flip over to prog and black metal. Yeah, because fuck. Actually, hang on. Let me get this out, and then we'll switch over to prog and black metal. This is a soundtrack to a movie that I'm sure some of you really like, and then others think it's hokey. But Legend, Tom Cruise's first movie, it had two different soundtracks. There was the European version, which was different from the American version. The American version was done by, oddly, a German progressive electronic band called Tangerine Dream. I love the Tangerine Dream version of that soundtrack. Very, very nostalgic, just very, very good in general. Definitely bleeds the 80s, but Tangerine Dream had a very specific sound to it. And the CD normally goes for between $25 and $60. It's got a pretty big range on there. And the vinyl, like if you want an 80s copy of that vinyl of this soundtrack, it goes for stupid amounts of money, more than I'm willing to pay for it. But I found a mint condition cassette on Discogs for $8, and I wasn't about to pass that up, especially since I'm all fucking back in with cassette tapes. So yeah, I picked that up, and I'm very happy about that because I've had the bootleg MP3s on my phone for years, probably like 10 years. I've been moving them along. Yes, now let's get back into some prog and black metal, because prog and black metal. So there's a band called Hacken. If you are into prog, you know Inside Out Records. And I know Neil from 1476 is just sitting there going, yeah. He and I are ridiculously huge in this Inside Out Records fans. It's fucking fantastic. And Hacken is probably one of my favorites off that record label. They blend a little bit of metal into like 70s style prog, so they're not as balls deep into prog metal as, like, say, Dream Theater, which I don't like Dream Theater all that much, but I do like, you know, a lot of the 80s, 70s and 80s prog bands, everything from, you know, you got your spacey stuff like Hawkwind, you've got Yes and Rush, and then you got the 80s stuff like Marillion and Pendragon, and I like all that, and I wanted something newer, and Hacken definitely filled that whole, like, burning itch to get something new. And this is an older record, 2013 release called The Mountain, and I like it. Hacken doesn't really, you know, they definitely have a thing they do for me, and I like it. They're definitely a lot more metal than, say, like Spock's Beard, who I also really like. This is good stuff, though. So, pretty happy to have that. And then, let's see here. Kind of proggy, more death metal-y. I'm a big Catatonia fan, or Catatonia. Shh, don't mind me. Catatonia is fucking amazing. Pretty much pioneered the whole Doom Death thing. And this is a 2-disc version called Bravery Yesterdays. It is 2 discs of a lot of their demo material and like December Souls, their first record. Fucking awesomeness. This came out on Avant-Garde Records, and the fucking mail fucked it up. It's got this big tear right here, but the CDs are in good shape. This is another one of those ones where I was listening to random Catatonia at work on YouTube, and I ran across one of their demo EPs, and I knew I had to have it because it was so good. And it was more pure, it was like slower death metal, so it's not all fucking fast and grindy like the Florida scene. It's definitely more on that Swedish death metal thing, but slower. So I was really happy to get that. And at the same time, I picked up, I'm also a big Paradise Lost fan, and if you don't know Paradise Lost, they kind of invented the whole gothic metal thing, and which is like death metal, specifically this record, Gothic. Had to get this nice picture disc because I've had the CD for years, but they kind of pioneered that whole gothic metal thing. This kind of bridges the gap between doom, death metal, and goth. It's really good. I enjoy this record quite a bit. And at the same time, I picked up Death Divides Us, Faith Divides Us, Death Unites Us.
Up until this, I didn't have this record at all, and I've got a lot of Paradise Lost albums.
They have an extensive discography that goes back to the 80s. So, picking them all up at the same time is insane because, you kind of have to digest the music. I mean, otherwise you're just buying for no reason. So I finally picked this up, and I got it because it has the CD in it as well as the record. But when I get the record, I don't know if you can see this. So you got one side, and then you flip it around, and look at that fucking center cap. The center cap is all fucking crooked, so like the last couple minutes of the last song on this side is unlistenable because it's fucking got a giant circle taped to it, glued to it. But it's got the CD in it, so I guess I can listen to 3/4 of this record without, screwing my record player up. But so I'm pretty happy to have that. I have not spun this just yet. I only got it maybe a week or two ago, and I got it for a good price too. Like Amazon's got some good deals on newer vinyl, so I think I probably got $15 and I got the CD. Pretty happy about that. Before I get into some black metal, I did pick up the newest Fright album. Not quite. These guys are definitely not horror punk anymore. There's definite horror punk leanings. Because obviously they're not going to completely give things up, but they have gone down the gothic metal vein like crazy, and I love it. It's really fucking good. The themes for horror punk are all definitely still there. And this particular record comes with a CD as well, but it's on this gorgeous like red marble vinyl. Pretty badass. It's got a big fat nice booklet. No, this one's got a big poster. And then the back side of it, all the lyrics and whatnot. So I like where these guys, you could kind of see back in the day where they were going. Fiend Force definitely reared them well, but that's pretty cool. So let's get super dark before I get into some books and magazines and stuff. I only got a few of those. The last few releases we have here, I flirt with black metal. I've never been all in because I love the aesthetic quality of black metal. The music is really abrasive, as it's supposed to be, but it doesn't do a lot for my ears. But there are a few bands I do like, and I'm not like by any means an expert on it, but I picked up Dark Throne. This is Under a Funeral Moon. It's one of like the Peaceville 3 top black metal records ever kind of things. Maybe not ever, but like it's 3 very, very good black metal records. Kind of up there with early Burzum stuff. The first 3 Ulver records are really good. I like Ulver's later stuff because I prefer electronic music over black metal. So like Ulver's Perdition City is just like my shit. And I gotta thank Rob from 1476 for introducing me to Ulver the way he did. It was probably like 12 or 13 years ago he introduced me to Ulver, and I was very, very happy about that. And I'm still very happy about that to this day. But I flirt around with Dark Throne, and a couple years ago, when Arctic Thunder came out, I picked that up because I was like, I'm going to delve into this head first, and I knew their newer stuff is more like death metal-y and like Motorhead-esque, like in songwriting than the black metal era. But so I kind of fucking went full in on Dark Throne now, so I've got Under a Funeral Moon. I'm going to pick up I've got Transylvanian Hunger over there, and I'm going to get, what's the third record in that is, they're the third record. It might actually be the first of the three that came out. I think Transylvania Hunger was the second record, and this was the third Peaceville record. I can't remember. I'll put it right here because I can't remember. So I got that, and I'm pretty happy about that. And right around the time that I did that, yet again, 1476, posted a picture on Instagram for a label, Folkavar or some such thing like that. Yeah, Folkvanger. Folkvanger Records. It's a limited run tape and CD label out of New England. At least I'm pretty sure it's out of New England. Anyway, they were having a 25% off sale. Is what I'm getting at. And for this 25% off sale, I decided to take a look and see if there was anything that I wanted. And the first thing I saw was this record, Bjorn's Hall Estuary. I have seen this go around the YouTube music community, and people were raving about it. Well, maybe not raving, but saying it was pretty fucking good. And 25% off. I think I got the record for $5. I wasn't about to pick. If I was gonna buy one, I may as well look around and see what else I was gonna get. So that was a must that I had to get. So then I just kind of went through and listened to snippets here and there of other stuff on the site. And I got Gravespawn, Inexorable Grimness. Pretty sure this is just balls to the wall, fucking grim, nasty black metal. So looking forward to listening to that more. Vartana, Rite, which is like Indian religious, like Indian faith inspired fucking like dungeon synth, pushing into that black metal realm. So happy about that. And then these two, and I can't remember which one's which, but one of them is kind of like Motorhead-esque fucking like trad metal with some folk leanings to it. And then this is Forefather, Tales from the Cloudborn Land. I think that's the one. This one. No, I think one of them's folky and one of them's a little more like trad metal. Either way, they both sounded really good to my ears. And this is Sojourner, The Shadowed Road. I love the artwork for them, and I enjoyed the snippets from the website. So I picked those up, and I got them all for a really good deal. Like I said, 25% off the whole pile. Can't beat that. And the packaging is fantastic. The layout, the presentation, everything. I'll be sure to keep up with this label. Good stuff. Okay. Let's jump into some books. Because I've been rambling on about fucking music for like an hour. So, I have mentioned I am a D&D player. It should be known, like, you watch me long enough, believe me, you'll find out real fast I love Cyberpunk. A game that I've been playing for longer than I care to think about, since I was about 13, is a game called Shadowrun. There was like a lot of role-playing games, there was a book series that came out, and the book series ran about 40 books. Like D&D books, Star Wars books, Star Trek, fucking whatever. There are hundreds and hundreds of books for a lot of those games. With Shadowrun, there were only 40 of the original run of novels, and I've got, I think, all but 9. And I added 3 more to get me to that. I only need 9 books. And the ones I picked up were The Forever Drug, Changeling, and Technobabble. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll do a video sometime of my library once I get it a little more organized. But I love to read. I listen to music while I read, and I'm really happy to pick these up. The series is really fucking good. There, of course, like in any bunch of books, there's always going to be a few clankers in there, but for the most part, it pulls you into that Shadowrun universe and deposits you firmly on the ground. Here's a magazine. Now, I'm sure you're going to be wondering why the flying fuck that I'm buying random Metal Maniacs magazines. But here we have the February 2009 copy of Metal Maniacs. Metal Maniacs, like, oddly enough, I'm not a huge metal head. I definitely fall into I flirt with metal. And most, like, big metal bands, I can take them or leave them. I don't really have any, like, I've got a little bit of death metal, and I've got some black metal, like I just showed off. Doom and goth metal are probably, like, the most stuff I have. But part of the reason I got into a lot of that stuff was because I used to be head road tech for a Celtic folk metal band called Lunarium. And in 2008, it'd be November 2008, we played a festival in St. Paul, Minnesota called Heathen Crusade. Well, I mean, it's one of those fucking, larger city fucking festivals that imports all kinds of gnarly European bands. So, like, Ancient Rites, Moon Sorrow, Woods of Ypres, which are not from Europe, but really fucking good nonetheless. Metzital, and just a bunch of other bands. I can't remember who all was on the bill, right? I mean, those were all definitely on the bill. Actually, if I look, because the reason I got this is because Lunarium is featured in the section that talks about Heathen Crusade. And let's see here. Gates of Slumber, Decrepit Birth. Oh, Amorphous was there. Gee. How did I not remember that? That's fucking sweet. Amorphous rules. Oakenhelm, Wolven Ancestry, which Wolven Ancestry, funny story about that, Wolven Ancestry walked by our tour bus, and they took one look at it, and I was asleep, but my friend Nate, who's the singer of Lunarium, he was up, and he said that they got out of their van, and one of them took one look at our bus, and he goes, I bet a bunch of dorks are in that bus. And, yeah. Come on, we're a bus full of D&D players. I mean, we like to rock out, but you'll learn most metal guys are a bunch of nerds. But it's funny. Not once in my life would I ever think that I was running around on stage with Lunarium at this show. As just kind of backup, the heavy metal Flava Flav, if you will, which is what they fucking call me in this damn magazine. So there's a picture of Moon Sorrow here, and then right here is a picture of me with a giant plastic sword. So I had to get that. It amuses me. It amuses me greatly. And what's even better is the poster in this is one side Cradle of Filth and the other side Dark Throne. So I have a feeling that Dark Throne poster is going to make its way up onto the wall at some point. But yeah, it's amusing flipping through this. Pretty cool though. I'm glad to have that. I'm surprised I found it. I found it on fucking Amazon. Somebody was partying out their whole fucking Metal Maniacs collection. So I got that for a really good price. And finally, after all of the junk that I have thrown up here, shout out to my friend Jess, because she went to Columbus Comic Con, and she buys artwork while she's there, and she picked me up a couple of pieces of art. They're both fantastic, with this fucking Dracula 31 from the scene of him on the fucking stairs. These are prints, like low-run prints, but that's one thing I like about conventions, is you can find all kinds of cool stuff. So those are making their way up onto the wall at some point. I gotta get them framed. But that's it. Pickups. Like I say, I'll probably do these maybe every 3 months or so, or maybe less, because if I fucking get in a gazillion fucking CDs and books, then I don't want these things to run more than like a half hour. But anyway, yeah, come back, check me out on the Midnight Chamber. I got new videos in the line for the history stuff, and maybe some more top 10s. We'll see what's going on. I don't know. New stuff's coming, though. I'll catch you around.